everybody, and welcome back to TARTLEcast. You're here with Jason Rigby and Alexander McCaig. And today we want to focus on data-driven solutions for understanding consumers.
Yes, I want to get into one. When you're talking to these Fortune 100 companies on consumer data, retail data,
Sure.
CPG data, whatever it is in this retail sector, what are you seeing problems with when it comes to the person, the human, and their response to data?
Sure. And you're talking about like the individual, like as the consumer?
Yes, as a consumer.
Yeah, so it's a two-sided issue that we have here. And lucky for us, we got a two-sided marketplace.
Love it.
So for individuals, much of your data you have when you are browsing online or you're going to make a purchase is getting recorded and stored in a system where someone's trying to build a profile on you. Now, you don't know what that data is. You don't know where it's going to. You have no control over it. And you don't get any of the benefits from people analyzing that data on you yourself and how you are acting as a consumer at large. That's a problem. Where's my financial benefit? Where's my control? There's nothing. This is a surveillance operation which is used to manipulate me and my purchasing habits for products or services. That's what it is. Now, that has been pretty much the status quo for quite some time. And enterprises have been using this online tracking, cookie-based world, and using much of this retail, point-of-sale data, anything of the sort to build these consumer profiles. Now, if these enterprises, like these larger Fortune 100s, have invested billions of dollars, in total, all of them, into these things called CDPs, which are these customer data platforms, which says, I'm going to take all these pipes, all these different things that Jason is interacting with, and I want to try and stitch them all together to build this journey of who Jason is so I can understand him to better service him with products or services or give him a better ad that's more poignant to him paying attention to it to get him to convert. That's what their hope is. Now, the framework of these CDPs were built on a world of third-party data. Now, as the public is becoming more educated on data control and using mechanisms like TARTLE to control their data and share with enterprises, the world of third-party data collection is going down the tubes. People don't want to use it. It's actually a liability for enterprises. And on top of that, they've invested all this cash into these CDPs, which are sitting dormant currently at this moment because they don't have third-party data streams going into it. And then beyond that, there's a massive liability for buying that third-party data. And if cookies are going away, you're like, well, what do? I need to have a strategy, a first or zero-party data strategy to start to get this information into these systems to give us the intended benefit we wanted from this technological investment, right? So if I put the culmination of a change in regulation, cookies going away, investments into technology, right? And I need a strategy that moves me away from the third-party data liability, where do these Fortune 100s look? They look to TARTLE.
Right.
They look to a data-driven solution for understanding their consumers. They're looking for a consumer data product to build this complete consumer profile. And they want to do it in an ethical manner, a way that engages and establishes a relationship truly between the consumer and the brand itself.
So let's do a real world example here, and you can walk. Most of the people that are listening right now are in the retail industry, and so let's take a CGP company. Let's take a brand, and they're starting a new product.
Sure.
And they're trying to brand that new product into an emerging market. How could TARTLE help with that? And let's say it's a
like a drink,
an alcoholic product or whatever.
Cool, super cool. So let's give an example of this. A majority of the data that these CPGs were using were coming from point of sale systems, retail here, and the developed world, if you want to call it that. Okay, economically developed, to be clear. Now, if you are trying to expand into international markets where there is a confluence of new resources and economic growth, and people are looking to spend more as they're becoming a part of the world economy, more so than they were before 20 years ago, there's no way for you to get that data from the retailers across seas. So it's not going to do. How am I supposed to push a new product to see how it's going to be adopted, right? Or test advertisements or anything of the sort? Understand what the consumers are like overseas if there's no data coming from that area. But it's a market I want to get into, right? It's a thriving new market. So, okay, what's the thing here? So if I want to introduce this new drink, I need to understand people's drinking habits, preferences, right? Behaviors. How do they interact socially if it comes to, say, a new alcoholic beverage, right? Is it culturally against them? Like, I don't want to start, and this is an obvious use case here, but like, I don't, in certain parts of the Muslim religion, I don't want to be advertising alcoholic drinks. That's not going to do me any good, right? Because it goes against that what they built up. It's the culture over time. So I want to build a profile to help me understand the religion, help me understand the cultures, help me understand the behaviors, the profiles, the spending habits, and how much people are actually willing to spend, frankly, on this new product. What is it that's really going to make it sing before I invest all this money into something and only find out it's going to be a flop? You could know that ahead of time. So you would source this complete consumer profile through TARTLE to say that if I need to know what 1 million people in Thailand look like to really build up this profile of who they are, to understand how they are using products and services, I'm going to do that with TARTLE. Because I'm not getting the data from the retailer, I'm getting zero and first party data directly from the people of Thailand itself.
And they're consenting to selling you that data.
Which is truly beautiful. So regardless of the border you're going across, you're so far ahead of where the regulation curve is because you're using a technology that puts the power and control back in the hands of the consumer who rightfully owns that information.
So, and I want people to understand this, our second superpower, that's one.
Yeah.
Number two, and I want to stay with this example of going into Thailand, introducing a new drink with 1 million. So we've got these 1 million profiles.
Sure.
So we're understanding. We've got the consumer profile, complete consumer profile.
Yep.
What happens if I want to have a conversation with these 1 million people?
It's a great question. Like you're talking about engagement here, right? So now that you've built out this profile, you can start to pull them into your loyalty programs because you have their names, you have addresses if you want, you have personally identifiable information, you have email address, you got phone numbers, you could text, email, call, you can send a letter if you wanted to. And now, because you have this, you have the ability to change your engagement efforts. You have the ability to open up a real dialogue with the consumers themselves.
So what if I don't want to go through that effort, or I'm going to do that, but I want to communicate? Can I communicate through the TARTLE marketplace?
Absolutely, because it's a unified solution. It's like your single source of truth, not only for securing that data, right, to actually access it, but also to engage people. You can engage through loyalty programs and other things, but if they're already using TARTLE, right, a part of this system, just engage them on the thing that they're already a part of. Because then you're not like being abrupt on anything and they're choosing to want to engage with you. And it's right there direct. And you do it through the product itself, using these data packets to collect this data from people. You can show them ads. You can educate. You can collect more of that information. Whatever it is. And
you can ask them questions.
Ask them questions. You can drive them to
show them
actions,
videos.
Anything you want. Anything that you can really dream up. And the best part is everything that is cataloged as data gets natively mapped into your CRMs or CDPs, which you've invested so much money into.
So I'm bringing this product into emerging market. What if I want to do the same thing in another country?
Great. Well, the fact is that TARTLE's in every country on planet Earth. So you choose the size of the panel or the cohort of the people that you say, okay, if I have this number, this will be the statistical relevance, right, for us. And it's like, that's enough for us to make a decision operationally to go into that country with our new product or service. And we can help you achieve that.
So when I get into, you mentioned something about third party and me relying on that and that going into my CDP mapping. And TARTLE fits into all of that. What is the zero and first party data? Why is that so important now through TARTLE and then also into the future?
Yeah. So if you see that third party data is going away, essentially a lot of this other people telling stories about you and deciding who you are for you, the zero and first party data says that now the people who are the rightful owners of this information are having the relationship with the brands, telling the brands exactly who they are. Now people become their own measuring stick rather than the enterprise measuring people, which is a very interesting dynamic, but it's important because going forward, you'll see that this is going to be socially how society continues to develop, where more of that sovereignty and control in a more decentralized world technologically and with everything else that people are using goes back in the power in the hands of the consumer themselves. So your strategy needs to be around first and zero party data, which is going to be around for the foreseeable future, especially because
which is a problem, especially with CPG companies trying to be able to talk to, because you're going through wholesalers or retailers or whatever it may be. So being able to have that conversation directly and getting that point of truth is directly is how valuable is that? It's
priceless. It's your single source of truth. And then because you are having this relationship and you're essentially sourcing these data assets from people, these profiles, these complete consumer profiles, that becomes an asset for you. This is something that you actually rightfully own. And there's been a transaction that has occurred for this directly with the people who have given you that asset.
So you're not relied on these inconsistent data silos that could have information that your machine learning has to decide whether it's good or bad, or you can go directly to the consumer and have a conversation, which is not happening in this industry.
No, it's not happening. And you can measure those deltas, those changes in the behaviors of what people are doing or why they choose to leave a brand or adopt a new one. And you can know from everybody at large. It's the beautiful part about the product and the technology of what is the TARTLE marketplace, right? And this complete consumer profile. And the brands that are speaking with us, working with us, are the real leaders in the industry. And I would tell you, anybody who might be a competitor, which is everybody because it's the largest brands that are out there, time to wake up and pay attention. It's time to adopt the first-party data strategy. It's time to really supercharge the technological systems you've invested in with this great data, right? Natively map it in. And here's the real kicker of this entire thing. It's all well and good for these enterprises, these consumer companies, to have the information. That's step one.
Right.
But what about the so what?
Yeah.
What if you don't have the resources for like a huge data analytics team? Well, lucky for you, with this complete consumer profile product, we use our own internal AI to run an analysis on this cohort. So it will give you a key summary of the entire group of people that you're trying to, learn more about. We'll give you key takeaways, actionable things you can do.
That's so good.
We'll give you analytical overlays on the information, and we'll also tell you where there are gaps in the information that you're asking and what you need to know going forward.
That's so good.
And what better, so what actionable insights, and also having the data that you need and having a mechanism to engage directly with these people globally, no better place to look than TARTLE.
So it's tartle.co/consumer. That gives you all the information. How would they get a hold of, how do we get a hold? How do we have a conversation with you? What is the best way to interact with
Super
TARTLE?
simple. We got a button on the page that says get in touch. And we also list out what you can expect when you press that button. Because we're very transparent. We lay out the whole path forward about what it takes. And it's very simple. It's a light lift process. And we find that consumer companies, there's 3 strategies they can use when interacting with us. They can do it all themselves. The system is designed where you can do this. You never even have to have a conversation with us. Or you can do the one where we can do it with you. We can help you through it, but you're still driving the car. Or we have other enterprises, consumer enterprises, that say, hey, I just want you to do it all for me. So you have the choice of that service model, and you'll know what you're going to expect and what you're getting into. And let us show you the true magic that occurs when you're getting your data directly from the source. Thank you very much.